Hi, everybody. Welcome to class. We're here today in a little roundtable forum to talk about why you would be interested in taking this class. We all have different reasons and we all have different perspectives, but we all have the same instructor. That instructor is Mr. James Mucci. Excuse me? How do I say it? Mucci. See, he's easy to get along with. But basically, he's one of the best instructors available for this kind of work, because he has not only practical experience, but he's really, and if you'd like to learn something, marked on the floor from your shoes, this is the guy to talk to.
Jim gets an A. The purpose of these videos is based on a request I received from students about what is class like. And so we thought, instead of the student having to register and having to come to the first couple classes to find out the answers to some questions, we thought we'd video the answers. You could actually view them prior to coming to class, and that means that it helps you save you time. Secondly, it helps save money. That means you're not registering for classes, funding isn't being put in place on classes you're not going to complete. So, who wants to ask me the first question, or should I keep talking, as I usually do in class?
I'll ask.
Perfect.
First question is, do you require a textbook?
I do not. The courses that I teach typically have more to do with practical expertise because they're business related. They're not theoretical classes. And most people that come to the classes that I'm involved in are looking to get a job or looking to improve their job, looking to develop skills that they can use on an everyday basis. And typically textbooks are a little bit more global in their description of issues, and they're a little on the dated side relative to what's going on in the everyday workplace. Because as an example, the financial industry has gone through a pretty significant change recently. So getting a job in the financial industry wouldn't be particularly relevant today as it would be 5 years ago, let's say. The logistics industry is, particularly in Southern California, because it's a big industry in this market, probably not going to be as big a deal in Des Moines, Iowa. And textbooks are typically written for global audiences. And what we try to do is work on material that's relevant to the students that are in the class. We survey every student at the beginning of the class to try to understand what their objectives are for the class, also what their personal objectives are, so that we can package the material in a way that it's relevant for them. Our hope is that every class they're getting something that they can use.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, Fran.
I'm taking this class to possibly get a job as HR manager, and I would like to know how are you going to empower me, or how are you going to empower me to learn this particular business?
Well, gee, Fran, since we've gone through a whole semester, I guess that leads me to ask a couple of questions while I'm answering your question.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with the issue of empowerment. We spent the beginning of the semester talking about the educate, empower, and engage. And we spent a lot of time talking about how it's more important to engage first so that people would feel empowered, and then it's easier for them to learn.
Okay.
What do you think about that? How did we do on that one?
I agree.
Do you feel more empowered now than you did when you first came to class?
Yeah, I do. Yes,
Right.
I do.
And are you less frightened of me now than you were when you first came to class?
Well, I'm sitting next to you.
Okay. Which would be an indication you're less frightened. Oh, let me go back a second. Were you frightened of me at the beginning of class, Fran?
No, I wasn't frightened. Maybe
Are you more
a
comfortable?
little shy.
Are you more comfortable
Yes.
with the process now than you were at the beginning of class?
Yes.
Okay. And what was it about the process in the class that caused you to feel more comfortable?
Maybe your engagement in with us in class, like coming and sitting among us all, and instead of
It's because I get tired, Fran. That's why I come and sit with you.
Well, that's what makes me feel comfortable.
Oh, okay, good.
When
Yeah.
someone is more.
All right. Now there's a follow-up question here for Holly, but I'm not going to go there. We're going to go right by about feeling comfortable and feeling uncomfortable. Okay. What do I do to cause people to feel more comfortable? Is that what you're saying? Other than come and sit with folks?
Okay.
One of the issues is we survey all the students early on to try to understand what their personal interest is. I know I can remember probably a month into the class, we had 4 or 5 students that virtually hadn't said a word the entire semester. And so I was struggling to find a subject that they were interested in. And it turns out that it was right after, was it the Academy Awards? What was it, show? The Academy Awards with the pregnant chick? Okay. So anyhow, there was some awards show. Was it the Grammys, Academy Awards?
It wasn't the Grammy. I think it was the awards.
It was something, some award show.
What's her name? Tiana?
Yeah, that was the Chris Brown,
Chris Brown and
Rihanna
Rihanna.
thing. What was that? Anyhow, next day in class, I come and I go, can somebody explain this pregnant chick to me? And the 4 people who hadn't said a word in an entire month, all of a sudden gave me a 45-minute dissertation on who MIA is and the history of MIA. And so the key is trying to find, and of course there was an HR class, there was an HR element because Chris Brown and Rihanna were unable to make their bells because they had a little dispute. I don't think they reported that to the HR department, but and so we try to use practical things that people can relate to. Now, Fran and I are both sitting there going, who is this chick again? Did you know who she was?
I don't know who she was.
She was? Oh, okay.
I didn't know who
So
she
I'm the
was
only
in
one that
beginning.
isn't hip then. I'm the only one.
I didn't know Rihanna until all this.
No, I'm talking about Rihanna. I'm talking about MIA.
Oh,
Did
I
you
don't
know who?
I don't know who MIA is.
Yeah, see, okay. And I'm not sure I want to know either, to be honest with you. But anyway. So that's the process that we try to get through. Other people have, we have folks that are from the military, so we use military analogies and, try to come up with subject matter in every class that the people can relate to, something that they're interested in. To answer your question, Fran?
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give me? She's the Russian judge. She's the Russian judge. Do you really? Okay, Fran has another question. Wasn't planning on working this hard, Fran.
Well, you've already answered this question. My question was, what classes or classes do you recommend for me to take to enhance the knowledge of this class? And you said markets.
Number 1 class, if you have any interest in business, is a basic marketing class. Just crucial. The second most important class I think you should take if you have an interest in business is Microsoft Excel. If it was up to me, those classes would be required to register for any subject.
Why would you require a marketing class?
Well, I think the issue is it isn't marketing from a business point of view. It's more marketing from a personal point of view. Marketing has elements of demand and supply issues, and all too often people are getting training in things that there isn't any demand for. I mean, going back years ago, I grew up in a coal mining town near Pittsburgh. Steel mills were huge. There are no steel mills left in this country, so consequently that career evaporated. Then I went to the Merchant Marine Academy, and I'm licensed to drive big ships, these big container ships and whatever, and of course there are less than 100 U.S. flag ships left, and so that industry vanished. And I'm actually a pretty good ship driver, to be honest with you. I went up to Alaska and back several times, didn't leave anything in the water. The stuff we put in the tanker went to its destination. I didn't hit anything, which is the main requirement of a ship guy. Okay? But now there's no ships left. And so no matter how good I was as a coal miner or how good I was as a ship guy, if there are no jobs, what good is it? Other than the fact I got some cool stuff in my office. Memorabilia, right? And so you want to develop skills that are in demand. Follow-up question is, what industries are in demand today since the financial adjustment? Healthcare is a big one. Government is a big one. And education is a big one. That's why I think marketing is important. Excel, you can hardly do anything anymore. That is such a great program. You can do budgeting with it. You can do all kinds of, scenarios, what-if scenarios. Philosophy, do you need it? No. But for any business, either private business or corporate business, knowing Excel is an important skill, in my view. And you become really proficient at it, I'll let you do the grading for the class.
I got another question.
Sure.
Rosanna, do you have any questions? No, that was my question. No, actually, I do. No, Jim, over the period of the term, we've had a chance to learn some of your experience and traveled very widely. You've done business in a lot of countries. You've worked in a lot of related but different segments of the market. Now, I know that you like to talk and educate, and I know that you like to engage the students in a way that they appreciate. But how do you feel when the student starts to understand why the education is important? How do you feel when they want more education from you?
I've done my job.
He's the guy to talk to.
I mean, part of the, when I was going through my training, there was an interesting scenario. The professor was a great professor in teaching how to teach at a community college. And so if you have any complaints about my teaching style, take it up with him, because I pretty much modeled it after what he did in class. He asked me if I would do a presentation on motivation. And I asked if I could, and I'm willing to do most anything. And I asked if I could pass on that. And so he asked me why, and I said, well, it's my belief if people are showing up to class, they're motivated. I think the instructor's job is to inspire them, not to motivate them. First, they don't put them to sleep, and the second part is, actually, if they're there, it's kind of like going to church. If they're there, kind of get them engaged somehow emotionally, get them connected, so that they feel that their time is being used worthwhile. No, some folks you're just never going to get there with. The large percentage of them, if you make it enjoyable enough for them, they'll keep coming back. And hopefully at some point they'll get connected, and then they'll take another class. And I'm less concerned about what classes people take, or whether they get a degree. I'm more concerned about them continuing to get educated. Because it's my belief the better educated people are, the better citizens they are. The better citizens we have, the better society we have. The better society we have, the better it is for everybody around us. Kind of a global thing. Oh. Our director just ran out of the room. Apparently wasn't happy with that answer.
Speaking of directors, I bet our director has a question.
Fran,
Yes. Can you hear me?
what did you get out of this class of value? Other than an intimate knowledge of HR management techniques.
Maybe motivation and I'm blank right now.
Why don't you pause and make sure we recorded all that?